go. That's a little bit better, I think.
All right, let's do it. Good morning, guys. How you doing? I have David Angel with us this morning. He's going to be talking about keeping the emotions out of the sales process, which I think can hinder a lot of people, because if you get caught up in your emotions, you're not thinking straight. Dave.
Hi. How's it going?
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Good to speak again.
Yes, sir. You know, I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah. Do you know the funny thing is, it's something which, for me, I work on myself as much as I can. We were talking of a minute ago, and I get up now at 4:30, and I'm doing this workouts in the morning and meditation, and I'm listening to a lot of TED Talks at the moment when I'm doing my workout. So a lot of them I'm just skipping, so it's just there in the background. And it's really interesting sometimes the things that we pick up. Now, I've always been someone who has been massive on goals, goal setting, and working on these steps. Yes. And then I've been listening to more and more recently. And over time, it's, you know, when you're working and you're like, I believe in this, but I feel like it's almost like there's a thorn in your foot. Like you believe in something, but something's just not quite connecting. And I'm like, but I believe in goals. I know goals work. I've always been a goal setter. I've been a goal achiever. And then recently, what I've heard more and more is forget about goals. No, for anyone out there who does goal setting, I'm not going to say don't have goals and aspirations. It is, but it's about flipping it on its head. And one of the big problems with goal setting is it's target based rather than making it standards based. So we've got a goal for earn £300,000 or 300. I'm in the UK, it's $300,000 next year, and you broke it down month by month how much you need to earn, and it's a monetary value. But if we flip it on its head and we take the shiny object out of it and we set our standards higher, so we're like, okay, well, what would it take for me to achieve this goal? How many deals do I need to make? You can work all that stuff out. And then if we get in the fact of just going, okay, every day I'm going to make X amount of calls. Not whether I want to, not because I feel like it, but it's just the standard. I'm pretty sure if we look at the military, I don't think that everyone wakes up and wants to do a 15-mile run with a bag on the back, carrying a gun in the pouring rain. But what they've got is they have got habits that are so ingrained that it's just done. Like Nike says, just do it. And if we forget about the goal setting, and there's two-pronged for this, and we focus on increasing our standards. You know, with a lot of time with goals, I'm getting like this sometimes, and we set goals, and I do it with houses. I'm looking online, and this house is like 800,000. I'm like, this is what I want. And sometimes we can almost get the satisfaction feeling from a visualization. We can go and do a test drive in the car, and it almost cures a bit of that hunger because you've experienced it. So we don't become as white hot. So then you become a little bit cooler on your goal. So then you don't work as hard on your goal. It doesn't happen all the time. But if we focus on our standards of this is my minimum expectation of me, I hold me to a higher standard this year than I did last year. And in 2021, I'm holding myself to an even higher standard. Not because I'm trying to beat myself up, but it just makes sense. If I have the fact that I overcome my fears and my doubt and all the things that hold me back, if I get to the stage where I embrace my fear, Boxing Day this year, I went for a swim in the sea. And Jesus Christ, I don't know where you are in the US, but in the UK, it's cold. I mean, it was cold. Mate, it was cold, stood next to the sea, let alone getting in. And in my thought process in the morning, so because of COVID-19, the event, because it's an event, normally there'll be a few hundred people doing it. And a lot of people out there had it cancelled. So it was an easy excuse to not do it.
Right.
But then in my head, so I'm like, cool, I'm going to chill out Boxing Day. I'm going to take it easy. It's my daughter's birthday, chill out. And so now I'm like, no, hang on a minute. This is taking a big lump of coal off of my commitment. If I'm giving myself an out, that means I was only doing it because everyone else was doing it.
Right.
So I was doing it not because I'm a leader, because I was following that pack. So I'm letting my emotional state change because of an outside factor. So I'm suddenly not going to jump in the seat. Listen, I didn't go for an hour swim. I was in there for about a minute. It was freezing. But that uncomfortable feeling of doing something, not because I want to, but because I committed to it. So if you commit to it and you just do it, my internal heat, my coal, my fire is burning still now from what I did Boxing Day. But it works on the flip, right? If I hadn't done it, imagine how I'd be feeling today. I would be depressed, but I wouldn't have as much coal. My fire would not be burning as strong internally because I wouldn't have kept my word. And we do this to ourselves all the time, don't we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think because of that, when we start a job or when you have someone to employ, a lot of your guys are freelancers. So you think a lot of people, when they've worked in companies before and someone starts new and they keep lowering their standard every day, they get 1% worse every day. And we do that in our own job. And I think this is why when we were talking the other day, I thought this hopefully will bring a little bit of value to your guys. If you're a home worker, I'm at home now. I'm in my house, right?
Me too.
And and it's easy to lower the bar. It's easy to justify. Well, I got up earlier today and I did this and I was doing emails at 10 last night so I can have a lie in. But if we have a standard, if we have the highest standard for ourselves, a high expectation of ourselves, everything else will fall into place. If I have a minute, so if I'll show you, literally, I can show you on here. How do I flip this around? There we go. So if I flip this around, so I have on my front room, so my desk here, I put these all here now. So I have all my standards on the board. I have my daily to do. I have my daily standards. These are minimums that I must do. Now, my must do's are over everything now. Unless my kid is in hospital or something dramatic happens, this is my standard. I will miss dinner before I'll miss my list because I'm a bit fat anyway. So I'm not going to starve. But that's my standard. Now, if I keep this standard every day that I work, without fail, miss a meal, don't miss my standards, there is no way my life is going to go backwards.
Right.
It's impossible. Now, if I miss a meal over that, if I miss a Netflix program over that, nothing bad's ever going to happen. But we are, for many people, I think, 80% of the way there. And for that extra little bit of push that we've got, the glory is so much better. Think of it like a horse race. Your horse can win by that much, right? But the difference in prize money from a horse winning and a horse coming second is night and day.
Yes, sir.
Now, that doesn't mean that the horse that won was 100% better or 90% better. It was a horse's nose better. And think about this. How many times are we a horse's nose away from a deal, a horse's nose away from a client, a horse's nose away from our goals? And the expectation and our standards, it's not a lack of ability. It's a lack of self-discipline. I think we're sometimes scared of achieving our goals because something's holding us back. Because it's not we're not great. Like, it's not the fact that we are not fantastic and we're not able. Our little nemesis in our brain can make us or break us. And if we have set the standard for the last 10 years, but we don't always stick to our word, every single time the opportunity comes to not keep to our word, our brain's like, yeah. This is a cool one. Let's go to the pub. Yeah. The sun's out. Let's finish early. Yeah. But if our standard for the last 10 years was the David Goggins mentality, which I'm sure you guys, everyone knows who he is, it's just done. Like, there's nothing else. That's our standard. Now, if we do that, if we hold ourselves accountable for the next year, and I'm not saying don't sleep, don't eat, don't do that, right? I'm saying have our standards, and that comes first. Some of my standards are a minimum amount of calls or a minimum amount of talk time per day. So it doesn't matter how much recording I've got to do. I still now have to fit in 2 hours of call time, whether that's with clients, whether that's with jumping on doing some prospecting, whether it's following up with people who haven't set up yet, whether it's a new product we've got coming out. So I have to do that as a minimum. Now, I'll go sometimes because I've got a lot of clients. I could do 2 weeks without making a phone call. Now, that doesn't harm my business, but it doesn't elevate my business.
Right.
And I'm here to elevate, not just to stay at my same standard. Right. So think about it like this. If I, as an example, have a minimum standard and I sacrifice the activities and I only focus on my money-making activities as my standard. So my call rate, how many times I close, how many times I'll handle an objection, my guaranteed minimum follow-ups I have with people, a standard for all of those things. And the things that I miss out on potentially might be an activity out of work or in work. You might miss out on following up on some crappy emails that you don't care about. We need to stop clearing out the inbox. We need to start bringing more money into the bank. Right. So our standards should be level 10 money-making opportunities. Like in the morning, I literally have it on my board. What is my level 10 opportunity today? What am I doing today? No, it won't necessarily be closing a deal. What big step am I taking to a level 10 opportunity that will get me towards my goal? Now, if I have to sacrifice checking the inbox for that, if I have to sacrifice spam folder, anyone who checks their spam folder, like you're not doing enough level 10 opportunities. Unless it's something you're like specifically looking for. If you've got a message you're trying to find, yeah. But over time, we check this stuff because we're putting off the hard opportunities out there because it makes us uncomfortable, because there's a fear of rejection, but there's a fear that we might fail. Right. But in that moment, in the level, yeah. We've got to remember, like if you're playing football, you can't spend all the time keeping the ball in control. You're not going to win games that way. You have to shoot, right? If we want to win games, you have to get the ball in the goal. Otherwise, the best result you've got is they score in your goal, in their own goal to win by default, which that's not a strategy. Or your best case scenario is a draw. So if your only option is losing or drawing, it makes no sense. We're better off getting into an uncomfortable zone, losing the emotion and do it as a standard and keep shooting that ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And we've got to expect to get punched a bit more. Like imagine Mike Tyson never getting punched. Like it doesn't matter how good you are, it's part of being a boxer. You're going to get punched.
You want to get hit.
And I think if imagine if every time he got in the ring, he was avoiding the punches. There's defense, but you've got to go offensive with this as well. We've got to work out where are my, one, if we don't know where our level 10 opportunities are, we need to find them. Right. 2, we need to have it as a standard, but we are hunting for those. Even if you're only spending 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes, laser beam focus, where are my opportunities? 2 hours a day, my call time. An hour a day on my follow-up. An hour a day on recording new content. Like all of this is a standard, but we've got to take the emotion out. Not because I don't feel like it, just get it done. Because no one's ever died by not doing it, have they?
That's right. Let me ask you, could you go into a little detail when you say level 10 opportunity? Could you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, think of it like a scale. Imagine it like dating, right? Imagine you're dating. It's very easy sometimes to just go out on any old date. But imagine if you can only go on one date a day. What would you want to do? You'd want to make sure that that's a high opportunity. Someone, not just because they're the prettiest, but the best person, your ideal lady or man or whatever you're looking for. And with level 10 opportunities, we need to see what our activities are. Checking an email from people which you don't do business with is not a level, that's like a level 1. That's an activity. I always think anything below a level 2 opportunity, it's more of an activity for them. It's more, that might be some business at some point. That might be something we need to catch up on. You know, those jobs that we do first because they're easy, but we do 5 or 6 of these a day. Now, if you go in at the hard stuff every day, if you make an uncomfortable call to a business that could generate you 50% of your income on a month, you think of freelancers. If you only called one person every day who's a big high roller that can make a fortune for you, if you do that every day over a year, even if you only got 5 of them, it could make up 30% of what you normally make, right?
Yes, sir.
So a level 10 opportunity there is working out what is so for me, a lot of my level 10 opportunities will be relationships that are going to bring bigger business. So for example, I'm getting into doing keynote speaking. So a level 10 opportunity for me sometimes is going out and reaching out to people that can help get me on stages. Because a level 10 opportunity for that is if I'm on stages, my exposure goes up, it grows my social media, it grows my client base, it grows my ability, I get to travel. So all of these brackets make it a level 10 because it's not just a phone call. It's income, it's stature, it's exposure, it's travel, and it's getting paid. So a level 10 do you know what I mean? So we've got a choice. Make a phone call to someone who can help me get into keynote, or call someone back about the plumbing, or chasing up about a poster, right? Or sitting on hold to the bank for half an hour. It's easy to find these activities. So we've got to look at it. Now, we can't always do that. Someone said the other day to me, it's like rabbits and elephants. Like hunting for rabbits is your day-to-day deals. But you want to get some elephants that you're hunting on occasions as well. The big ones that are going to burn forever, these big deals that can give you over a lifetime a huge amount of money. So we want to hunt out on top of the day-to-day, not replacing all our day-to-day. But if you do one thing every day, one level 10 opportunity, if you work, 20 days in a month, that gives you 240 swings at bat on a big opportunity. Mm-hmm. Even if you've got a terrible conversion rate and you only converted 10% of them, that's a lot of deals. And a level 10 is going to be worth a lot more, right? Yeah. A level 10 is going to bring more than just one standard deal. So actually, what's it really worth? And I think a lot of the time, especially for freelancers, I imagine for you guys, you're very focused and you've got so much going on the day-to-day. We're not coming out of the hole to have a look at what's coming up next year. But if you're doing a level 10 opportunity now, it might not come to fruition for 6 months. But you're planting the seed of an oak tree that your kids can swing on for the rest of time. Not just get this because John needs it. Get that done because this is on there. We're not just putting out fires. We need to take that time every day for the level 10s. The stuff we dreamt about when you started doing what you're doing, right? Yeah. You know, when you started and you had the big vision, and then suddenly the big vision turned into little visions because you're just getting by and bringing money in. And now we don't see as much time on the big vision. We're sitting on the little ones, juggling and spinning the plates that are already going. But we need to find time to get a big plate on the go.
Right. Oh, that makes so much sense. A lot of people do that. I found myself doing that at times, taking my eye off the big vision and focusing on the little things because I get caught up in doing that, and I lost sight of why I actually started.
And we all do it. Everyone. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We all slow down on our level 10s at some point because it's hard to stay at that frequency all the time. But I done a post on my social media yesterday about this, about sort of checking in on ourselves, making sure we're in the right place. Like, it's easy to get caught up. I call it the sales fog, where you're just head down, stuck in trying to deal with everything on a daily basis. But a month's gone by and you're like, bloody hell, where did that go? And you've just been stuck in this managing the day-to-day every day. We need to take a step back sometimes, take an hour. We need to have a bird's eye view on where am I now? If I keep doing what I'm doing right now, where will I be in a year? Right. Now, if that's your ideal and that's your dream life, keep going. But actually, if you know that last year you came up short by 30%, the likelihood is if you're still doing the same things you were doing last year, you're going to come up short 30% this year. So there's stuff in there that are not level 10s you're doing. You've got a lot of level 2s and 3s and 4s in there. Small stuff where actually you can delay a little bit of that. Spend a bit of level 10 time, plant some oaks, plant some acorns, and they'll develop into your oaks later on.
Exactly. Now, most of the time when people don't do that, there's a reason. Either they don't know or they let fear stop them from doing it. What are your thoughts on that?
So true. I think there's two sides to it. I think you're completely right. I think habitually, we put off our level 10s. We put off the big stuff for fear of rejection, for doubt and all the other stuff, and we masked it, but we're too busy. Imagine if someone comes up to you today and they put a gun to your head and they say, listen, you can only do the big stuff today, or I'm going to pull the trigger. Think, what would you drop out first? Email, gone, right? This, gone. Going through and checking on crappy spam folders, that's gone, right? Suddenly, because our life's on the line, we start freaking out, right? But our life is on the line. Today is the only day we get this time. Being on phone with you now is a choice. Am I on this with you, or am I doing something else? I see this as a higher up opportunity than some of the other stuff I could have done today. Right? Yes, actually, I'm going to watch Netflix tonight, 8 o'clock. The stuff I would have done right now, I could be doing at 8 o'clock tonight instead of Netflix, or with Netflix on, because it's admin. Instead, take that time and get on a level 6 opportunity with Mark, because it brings good exposure to me. It's good content for me. It's good relationship with you. Someone watching this might be like, do you know what? I need this guy in my life. So that's absolutely a strong opportunity. Now, it's noticing this in our own life of what are we doing? If a gun was on our head, what would we drop out today? How much time do we come down in the morning if you're working at home with a coffee and you turn the laptop? What's the first thing you go on to? Like, my first thing is my day. That's why I have these whiteboards, and they're clean, because literally every day, but this is a lesson as well. I come in, I take a picture of it, I wipe it off, and I start again. But here's a trick. I spent ages one day really writing everything out on my board, neat as hell. I totally took half an hour writing that board out. Now, where's the opportunity? What I'm doing, which is being organized, I was avoiding getting on the phone. I was avoiding doing my hard. I spent half an hour doing a whiteboard. So sometimes you're doing the right thing, and even then we're screwing with ourselves.
Yes.
So then I'm like, right. So now I have a time limit for those who see my posts. I have a limit now on half an hour on creating a carousel post for Instagram or Facebook. I could spend an hour and a half on that easy. Does it make me money? No. What am I trying to do? I'm seeking perfection. Perfection isn't real. So actually, half an hour on a 6 out of 10 post is better than an hour and a half on a 7 out of 10 post. Because that other hour, I'm making money elsewhere.
That's right.
Right. And then the second side is the fear. The fear of the rejection, the fear of it not working. We sometimes are prepared to keep sinking in the sand and stay stuck because we're worried there could be something in the forest. Right. The fear can be crippling for what we've got, but we also have, now, I want to say this clear. I suffer massively with anxiety. Like, I've missed weddings, I've missed big events. Like, it used to cripple me. And the difference between the way I am now and the way I am then is really down to putting in the steps to counteract it. Right. Have you ever heard about the analogy of a good and a bad wolf?
Yes.
Right. So this hits home.
Be strong.
Yeah. So whichever, we can only feed one. And for years and years and years, if we're spending our time feeding the bad wolf and it's got strong, the good wolf suddenly trying to kick in, it's got no strength. We've never fed the bloody thing. So we have to, when we set a new habit, expect it to be hard. We have to expect that when we put the good wolf out to battle the bad one's massive. So we have to keep feeding this one, and it's going to get stronger. We have to have long-term thinking. We have to be prepared to go through the uncomfortable stages of helping the good wolf build up. And over time, it will go. Now, the bad thing for a lot of people is they get the good wolf nice and strong. They get the good wolf to be resilient and fighting and strong. Then what happens? This bad wolf still got a bit of strength in it. It beats you in a fight in one go, and suddenly you're like, oh, well, we might as well give up, right? Because the bad wolf come back in, come out of retirement and knocked us straight out. And we had a failure. Well, we forgot that actually the bad wolf, we've got to feed one of them. There's always going to be a strength in that. So when it wings or it bites you or it kicks you in the backside or you get a failure or you have a crap day, we have to wipe our mouth with it, put it down to a loss, learn what happened, and then feed the good wolf again.
That's
right.
Because
it's the only way it's going to stay strong. It is not going to stay strong by having the curtains shut, feeling depressed, acting in depressed manner, talking depressed ways, listening to depressed music. That's only feeding our bad wolf. The bad wolf loves that depressive shit. It makes us enjoy it. We enjoy our self-pity. And we have to get out of that stage and go, nah, the good wolf doesn't listen to this. The good wolf doesn't eat that. The good wolf doesn't keep his curtains shut. And we have to go against that grain and battle with that bad wolf a bit again, just to get the flow.
Yeah, that's right. You have to. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feed the good wolf.
And it's something which we have to do for life as well. We've got to get it back strong. But this is a good thing. The bad wolf is never going to die.
No.
It's not. And we have to acknowledge that. A lot of people are seeking perfection and permanent happiness. Happiness is not a permanent place. It's not a holiday destination. It's a place we get to visit, and we want to visit as much as we can. But if for some reason on the way to happiness, we end up in a shitty town, excuse my language, we have to bear in mind, this is not our location. This is a part of our destination. It's on the path. And we've got to realize, if we're in a bad place now, do I want to stop? As I was saying before, if you're in hell, don't stop. Like, this is where you, like, if you're in a bad place, don't suddenly sit still and go, oh, this is hell. I don't like it here. Like, keep going by walking, by running, by clawing, by whatever means necessary. Get yourself to the edge of hell and then keep going, go through the plains and get to the happy destination. Yes, and we've got to keep pushing forward with that. We've got to keep moving in a direction. I've screwed up loads of stuff over my life, and everyone has. The problem is we're used to seeing it all on Instagram and Facebook where, and we know it's not true, but because we see it with our eyes and we see it so often, we start believing that these people are happier than we are. They're more successful than we are, that they're doing this and that they're doing that. But realistically, they're not. We know they're not. We know darn well that they're not. But we have to check with ourselves sometimes and be like, come on. I'd always laugh it off because we start getting judgmental, thinking, well, why am I the only one struggling? We're not. Why am I the only one who's got less money in the bank than one? We haven't. Like, why has this happened? Why? My son's been in hospital twice in the last couple of months. And it's very easy to be like, why is this happening to us? On my head now, I'm like, and this isn't me wishing it happens, but I look at it when it happens. I'm like, listen, my boy's strong. He's got a good family behind him. We'll get through anything. There's families out there that don't have the strength that we have. So actually, why us? I don't want it to happen, but anything that comes our way, we'll handle. And we have to change our perspective with this stuff because it wasn't going to change whether we were in a hospital or not, right? It wasn't going to make it any easier. If anything, if you're feeling sad and I'm feeling depressed and I'm putting that onto him, it's going to make it harder for him to recover. But if I'm sat there going, listen, you're the strongest kid out there. There is nothing in this world will show to your door that you cannot handle. And if you can't handle it, I'll pick you up and I'll carry you. But right now, you can handle this, right? So we have to have that acknowledgement. And that alone, that mindset, that power and that passion, we have to have. Even if we don't believe it right now, this is the one time you should fake it till you make it, is with self-belief. Because if you tell yourself you're bad enough, you'll start becoming bad. And if you start telling yourself you're good enough, and you are good and you are great, eventually you will trick yourself and you'll carry on becoming great.
It will be. Yep.
100%.
You are the story you tell yourself. That is a fact.
100%. And we are the actions that we take. We're right now, if we're really honest with ourselves, where we are right now is a direct result of what happened 6 months ago. Now, that could have been something that happened to you. It could have happened for you. However you want to work it, think about what you were doing 6 months ago to the day. How hard were you working? Were you doing if you were doing level 10 opportunities every day last year, even in lockdown, you're thriving now because your seeds are set. A lot of the time, and this is why these lists are so important to me, because even if I have a bad day, everyone has great bad days. I had a day that I felt awful. And I was like, as long as I just get my core stuff done, I'll chill out today. That evening, after I stopped feeling terrible and stopped feeling sorry for myself, if I hadn't have done that work, I would have had regret. Oh, I should have worked harder. And we all do that. But with that, I'm like, nah, I've done my minimum. And a little bit of coal went inside of me and burnt my fire, my soul a bit warmer because I kept my word when I didn't want to. And that's the good thing. If we keep that coal, doesn't matter what happens to me. keep the coal, keep it burning bright. It's a lot easier to keep stoking that fire. Keep putting it on there. No one's going to die if we keep to our list.
You know what? That is a powerful statement right there. I've been there. I've been there where I would make up excuses for why I couldn't do that thing that I knew I needed to do. And like you said, I would fiddle with social media. I would checking emails, like you said. I would do everything.
That bad wolf's in there. The bad wolf's good on. The bad wolf doesn't live in a cave. He's in our head, and he knows technology. He knows all the tricks of the trade. He knows how to lure you in, like the old mermaids on the shore, attracting the boats in to crash on the rocks. Our brain can do that to us.
Yes,
our
sir.
brains are clever, they're smart, but they're trying to trick us as well.
Yep. Dave, I appreciate you so much coming and speaking to my folks this morning.
Always. Thank you guys for having me.
I'm also going, guys, if you don't catch this live, don't worry. I'm gonna add this to YouTube, so it'll be on there too. So Dave, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone else, I will see you on the next video.
Have a good day,
Dave,
guys. All the best. See you later.